Evil Pixel.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and be completely honest with you. I don't know a damn thing about the Highlander series, movies, TV shows, or anything related to the franchise. I just know of the franchise because it was literally plastered everywhere throughout the 90s and the early 2000s. Highlander has literally been everywhere. Movies, sequels, TV shows, cartoons, animes, books, comics, merchandise, toys. Highlander has been everywhere. And with that, of course, came video games. And so in today's video, we'll be discussing the unreleased Highlander game and the unreleased Highlander MMO. Highlander made its debut to the world in 1986 as an action fantasy film by Russell McKay, starring Christopher Lambert. The film was a commercial success which spawned sequels and later garnered a cult following. The story followed a swordsman named Connor McLeod, an immortal warrior known as the Highlander who can only be killed by decapitation. Now in the film, Connor must face his greatest enemy, Kurgan, who wants to kill McLeod and obtain the prize, which is a special ability given to the last given immortal warrior, which also consists of vast knowledge and the ability to enslave the entire human race. A very interesting plot. However, the video games that spawned from this franchise were not so interesting or good. The first game released right after the first film for the ZX Spectrum and the Commodore 64. It was an arcade-style fighting game which also sported a 2-player mode. Now this game, as you can imagine, was terrible and was met with terrible reviews. And for the ill-fated Atari Jaguar CD, Highlander The Last of the McLeods was released on October of 1995. Now this game was based on the Highlander animated series, and in order to cater to the Atari Jaguar cutting-edge graphics, the game was a fully rendered 3D game with 3D rendered environments. Now while the game was praised for its full motion video scenes, the game still suffered from sluggish response time and bad controls. So needless to say, this game was not that good. Now several years later, in 2008, a trailer was released on GameTrailers.com of a new Highlander game simply titled Highlander. Being developed by Widescreen Games and published by Square Enix for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. Now this Highlander game was to be a third-person action game. The player took control of Owen McLeod, a predecessor of the original Connor McLeod and Duncan McLeod of the TV series. Now through an invigorating story consisting of 18 missions that began in the Colosseum of ancient Rome, and which was supposed to conclude in New York City present time. The game was to take heavy inspiration from games like Devil May Cry and Ninja Gaiden series, by which the main character could use many kinds of weapons and spells, as well as the possibility of choosing between various fighting styles. Now unfortunately, not much is known of this game, but in 2010, IGN reported that the game had in fact been cancelled. The reason for this was not given. Now even if the game was originally announced in 2005, the first trailer of Highlander was shown to the public in 2008. Now right after IGN reported it, in 2010, Square Enix also officially confirmed the cancellation of this game. The next game I'm throwing in as a bit of a bonus because honestly, I couldn't really find anything about it, so I don't know the validity of it. The only person I've seen to report on it and have information about it is the YouTube user PTOP Online. So a big shout out to him, and I'll put a link in the description below. He went on to share video of a Highlander tech demo that went on as a pitch that was kept very under wraps. The game tech demo was put together around 2005 for the PS3 and Xbox 360, with a possible release date of about 2006. Now this game was to be a full-fledged adventure game. The plot of the game was as follows. As the Highlander, you must scour the centuries searching for the fragments of the Methuselah Stone. The mortals who possess these fragments are granted extended life, but the mortals who collect all of the fragments will be gifted a tenfold increase in power. This story was adopted by the Highlander TV series, and according to PTOP, the game's main setting was in present time in a major city, while it was also implied that you will play in flashbacks taking place in different eras of time. A lot of the people involved in this tech demo were also involved in the Silent Hill series. The team behind the tech demo Climax also worked with Psy Games, who also confirmed they were working on a Highlander game. Now during PTOP Online's research, he concluded that the TV series writers David Abramowitz was involved with the game's tech pitch, because he was also involved with the officially announced Highlander game as mentioned earlier. Now this game pitch never seemed to make it anywhere, as it was likely turned down due to lack of interest in the series. Now even though this is a tech demo, there's no real wow factor about this demo, as it looked just like any other game. Honestly, if I would have seen this without knowing it was a Highlander game, I probably would have thought it was something completely different. And that brings us to yet another unreleased Highlander game simply called Highlander The Gathering, or Highlander Online. Now Highlander The Gathering was an MMORPG that was in development by Callisto Entertainment in 2001 and 2002, before the company eventually closed its doors. Now this game was based on the Highlander films, and it seems as though this project was cancelled very early on. A trailer and concept art of the game was released to the public. Now the trailer begins by showing both recent time settings and older medieval time settings, depicting a warrior training with an unidentified female, then suddenly being lured out and pushed off a cliff by an unknown male. The protagonist somehow survives, only to meet the corpse of the dead female whom he had just previously been training with. Now fast forward in recent times, and the warrior meets the presumed killer and begins to fight. Now while the trailer ends there, it can only be presumed that the player comes in at this point to assist in a wider perspective of the story. Now as stated previously, the concept art of the game were shown, and they revealed different settings as well, from the Empire State Building to older Egyptian times. Now it was implied that the players were able to somehow either travel or set their stories in different settings. Now unfortunately, nothing else is known of this mysterious MMORPG, but there is so much more to show than to actually say. Now I usually don't do this, but I will leave you guys with the full trailer of the Highlander Gathering. Thank you guys for watching, make sure to follow us on social media, and I'll see you all next time.
From the dawn of time we came, moving silently down through the centuries, living many secret lives, struggling to reach the time of the gathering, when the few who remain will battle to the last. No one has ever known we were among you. Until now.